Welcome now to Magmageddon for the next game in this set for our first 3v3 of the day. In the top left-hand corner, playing as the Green Empire, this is xouth. His teammate as the Red Allies, this is GG well played. And as the Yellow Allies in the south, this is Jesus. Meanwhile, in the top right-hand corner, as the Cyan Allies, this is GGOT. In the middle as the Blue Allies, this is XonURhed. And in the south, who is going to have to deal with an airfield rush, this is leha. I think I don't remember how old I first was when someone pointed out that Jesus, which was like a fairly commonly referred to like Hispanic name where I grew up, was actually just Jesus. And so this player's name is Jesus or Jesus, but every time I see it in like a non-religious context, I always think of it as Jesus because I feel like I knew of several people who were named Jesus, and I just never saw their names written. And so I thought, like, oh, there's Jesus. And then I saw it written, and I was like, wait, that's just Jesus? But it's pronounced differently? And for me, it was like this, when you're a young person and you see words or you hear words and then you see them spelled, and you're like, that doesn't line up with how I thought it was going to be. Is this an airfield rush into a turret push off of one refinery? What is this game? GG well played is going to be supporting this, drops a multi-gunner turret, deploys a barracks as well, and this is already going to be turning into the players in the south and the players in the north being diverted from each other. I feel like XonURhed really needs to put up some defenses down in the south. Otherwise, leha is going to get overwhelmed by this double team play. We'll see if it is enough. For now, it's GG well played with the double barracks on the ground. Ooh, low power mode for Jesus, so he isn't actually going to be able to help out very much at all. And leha, props to them because they have put out a huge number of infantry, and because GG well played infantry have paused in the middle of the map, this is actually going very well defense-wise for leha, who is blasting through everything that has been deployed. Jesus is going to have to run for the hills. He has already deployed an additional refinery. He has got 3 refineries up and running. Rank up there for that bonus crate, but a multi-gunner turret with a peacekeeper inside. Ooh, too bad for you. GGOT trying to hunt down these Tengus one at a time. And he is indeed hunting down the Tengus, even down back to their own mecha bay. GGOT and xouth in the north, they have clashed, and it looks like they will be clashing. Meanwhile, the 4 players in the south will be clashing, and this early aggression has mostly fallen completely flat. GG well played still has a small contingency of peacekeepers there at the front, and it looks like the turret push has been renewed. A second wave of turrets is on the way, but XonURhed with the Riptide Javelin combo splits up the damage, but it's not enough. The jabs all go down. The Vindicators are safe. Meanwhile, back in the north, it's going to be Tengus versus jabs versus peacekeepers versus the turret push, as GGOT likes what he sees in the south and says, it's up to me to make the victory happen in the north. Vindicators and multi-gunner turrets blasting away at those last few Tengus, and the Peacekeeper's going to be maybe pushing that MCV away. xouth on the ropes, on the edge, but leha has been defeated in the south, nearly extinct on this map. The MCV escapes out to the water. The main base has been cut open, and the combo Jesus GG well played combo is just too powerful. XonURhed has turned back up to the north. He's going to see if he can help with a double team up there. xouth loses his tsunami tank, but it's going to be the GG well played Peacekeepers which hold the ground and make sure that there isn't too much damage done by GGOT's base push. And this has suddenly turned sideways. It feels like XonURhed might be able to swing things into the favor of GGOT in the north, but it depends on what's inside of these Riptides. If there's nothing inside of these Riptides, then this attack might just fall flat. Vindicator's going to be coming in. GG well played loses one of them before the bombs drop. The Vindicators are not here to do much of anything. An additional multi-gunner turret gets deployed. leha manages to find enough income to deploy his own multi-gunner turret, again supporting the defense of GGOT, supporting the offense against xouth, and it will break xouth if there is not a rescue party coming in soon. Cryo shot fires off. That's good enough to delay the next phase, but GG well played manages to get the kill on one multi-gunner turret before his own multi-gunner turret gets destroyed, and this tsunami tank gets some crushes. The Javelin soldiers avoid the crush by holding back his GG as GGOT. I just realized we have GG well played and GGOT. Not a great set of names here. Another tsunami tank comes forward. The split is good. It's not perfect, but that tsunami tank doesn't get very many crushes before it gets blasted to bits. xouth getting overwhelmed by infantry from multiple allied players. GG well played, and his defense is just not enough. GGOT keeping up the offense. The Tier 2 Mecha Bay is about to go down to just a couple of multi-gunner turrets. The Engineer jumps out. The Engineer goes down. The Engineer will not save that Mecha Bay. The turret push has not stopped. Meanwhile, on the south side, Jesus is putting on the pressure, but he's not keeping up his economy. His economy has fallen flat, so he has not expanded out big. He has not gone for an eco boom. He is stretched thin, and he's not necessarily expanding out big time to help out his team. They are all in survival mode, which means when this attack ends, it won't be with some huge economic advantage for the team that is in the, I guess, the West. It might just kind of be equal economies all around. There are a couple of dolphins, but there isn't much on the water for them to defeat. leha has found some kind of damage. I think an Engineer captured that ore refinery. Jesus going to be going for the sneaky plays as well, and Mecha Bay getting knocked down, but no, the Mecha Bay will get saved. The Peacekeeper of XonURhed not able to save the day. This assault getting turned around 6 different times as different players have had the advantage, but GGOT and XonURhed, it seems like they've finally been pushed back. They've finally run out of steam. Well, maybe not entirely. Vindicators are coming through for a big pass. They don't go for the Mecha Bay. They go for the multi-gunner turret so that they can renew this assault. GGOT doesn't have a lot of infantry here, but he's had just enough to break down that last multi-gunner turret. The airfield gets eliminated. A big Vindicator bombing run from GG well played knocks down the airfield of GGOT, and this additional refinery, this 4th refinery plus the oil derrick for GGOT has been doing so much to keep this attack fueled, to keep this attack going. Refinery eventually goes down. Command hub will be getting targeted, and Jesus is keeping up a very light attack on the right side of the map, but the economy still has not exploded. It's just a 2 refinery economy for the yellow allied player. Cyan continuing to press on forward. The battle of the GGs, Red versus Cyan, both allied players as they go toe-to-toe again and again and again, but the Javelin soldiers get the laser lock. They have burned down almost every single building in front of them, and green is now in a desperate position. 3 refineries is good, but no production other than a barracks is bad. No Tengus, no tsunami tanks, no way to really shove back against this allied aggression. Cryoshot is going to be utilized to stop a single Javelin soldier from going for the kill on that ore refinery. Is this Harvester going to get the crush in time? I guess he will in the sense of it stopped the laser lock. Bonk. Precision Bomber doesn't get the kill on the Prospector. A little bit of friendly fire there coming in from XonURhed. He's like, I'll solve that problem for you. And of course, the Prospector had already solved the problem, so it was not a problem at all. Triple Riptide comes in. The MCV trying to go for the crush. It will deny the Javelin Soldier, but not the Riptides. And actually, he might get the crush on one of these Riptides. Oopsie. You forgot to move your Riptide in time. GGOT keeping up the pressure. Presses forward. Double multi-gunner turret with the Peacekeepers inside is a very powerful combination against so many infantry, but the multi-gunner turret didn't get broken by those Vindicators. The first wave of infantry will fall against all odds. This is a tough thing to fight into. This many Imperial Warriors, this multi-gunner turret as well, but it's pure Peacekeeper power for GGOT. He has finally broken the next line of defense. He has nearly knocked xouth out of this game, trying to keep that Empire player from having an epic comeback like we have seen once before on this map. MCV gets shrunken down. The assault has once again slowed down. Cryo Shot will fire off. It'll take down at least one of these multi-gunner turrets, maybe both of these multi-gunner turrets. Vindicators come in. Big blitz of the Vindicators will knock down both multi-gunner turrets. Both multi-gunner turrets of GGOT have been frozen, but his assault has not slowed by very much at all. He's still got fire in his veins. He's still got firepower left to go, and xouth is nearly out of the game. In the middle of the map, it has turned into a bit of a mess, turned into a bit of chaos. XonURhed and GG well played now going toe-to-toe. GGOT and xouth having fought each other for so long, it feels like it is going to be getting very close to the end for xouth. He set his MCV back up. He's pressed back this attack yet again. It is truly a triple player effort in the very north of the map, but the rest of the map might be... Well, actually... Wait, Why? Why do you only have 2 refineries? This is a tier 1 allied player who is, for some reason, sitting on 2 refineries, who has 6 refineries, which could be easily taken. 7 refineries, which could be easily taken. And xouth has taken none of them at all. This guy is not inspiring confidence. He can't actually get this Athena cannon if he can close the distance. Never mind, Aegis Shield is here. Multi-gunner turrets are here. All right, if GGOT had been asleep, then he could have gotten the kill. Vindicators returning from another bombing run, but XonURhed and leha are kind of in... I guess at this point it's just XonURhed. I feel like leha was part of this assault a moment ago, but it's really just XonURhed in this moment. All right, GGOT has slowly burned down basically everything that xouth has. xouth is going to try and rebuild out on the water, which is a valid thing to do as an Empire player. It is certainly a possible comeback. Shogun battleships. Sea Wings. Oh man, XonURhed almost getting flanked by GG well played, but that will be the end for that. And no, actually, GG well played with the last couple of Peacekeepers. Truly, the last 2 fully heroic Peacekeepers got the last 2 kills. I thought he didn't have the numbers, but he did indeed. Aegis Shield gets deployed, blocks all of those Vindicator bombs, completely denies that attack. Precision Bomber to clean up just a single Peacekeeper. These random Precision Bomber attacks, which are just taking out like single bits of infantry. Vindicators looking for more targets. Hey, we finally... Why do you have a command hub here? I guess he's going to move his MCV. But like right now, why do you have a command hub here? You have an MCV right nearby. Double Cryogeddon on top of the... Oh, no! The Vindicator gets frozen in place. Drops all of his bombs on the airfield. Does not split the bombs. There are like 5, 6 targets here which could be targeted, which could be blasted down. Athena cannons turn south. Cyan and blue forming a blue wave of destruction, which is coming for them. But the Assault Destroyer is truly a wave of destruction, crushing 2 Athena cannons, one after the other. The rest of the front line falls to pieces as GGOT and XonURhed join together. The 2 blue guys. Oh, actually, I guess it's cyan, blue, and purple, which is like a very nice coordination of colors over there. Really, xouth should be orange, and then we'd have a perfect, like, warm versus cold colors kind of thing going on. A perfect split of the 2 sides of the color wheel against each other. And that would have actually worked out really nicely. But, oh well. Oh well, indeed. And at this point, it feels like maybe if Jesus had gone 6, 7, 8 refineries. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 over there. Those are all pretty safe to grab, and he just grabbed none of them. He had a huge opportunity to go just absolute eco-boom, go nuts on the economy, go nuts on the production after that, and he just didn't. How long is this game? He spent 80% of it, 90% of this game on 2 refinery economy, and as a result, the entire left side of the map has been defeated. Xouth was the first to crumble, but the dominoes fell shortly after that, and that will do it for this game. A somewhat swift 16 minutes, which is like a normal length for a game, but after these couple of like hour-long games that we've had, that one feels nice and short. Welcome now to Murder Mesa for a 5-player FFA. It is 5 players to potentially bring us chaos and carnage on a map that we do not see very often. I feel like Circus Maximus, maybe it's played more, but at least I've seen more games on that. Murder Mesa, game that we don't see quite as much, but I'm hoping we get to see some good action on it here. In the north, we're going to go around the clock, and we're starting with this Cyan Empire player. This is Takitak. Rounding the corner to the green Empire player, this is StarSentinel. And around down the clock on the right side to the purple allies, this is red, which is always fun. But around the corner to the blue Soviets, this is GOproHeroX. Why he named himself after a camera, I don't know, but that is GOproHeroX. Meanwhile, our 5th player, the Red Empire, this is World. 3 Empire players, 1 Allies, 1 Soviet. And real quick, okay, this is not a 40k game. GFEworld, but I'll just be calling him World. A 5-player FFA. Murder Mesa is the map. Looks like out on the 4 corners, or not quite the 4 corners. The 2 corners and then the 2 almost corners to split the map. You got the hospital, you got that expansion, and that's a lot of hospitals that actually exist out on this map. You've got these other expansions in the space in between, in the water in between, and then of course as soon as you step onto that high ground, it is a pretty short walk to your opponent's stuff. So this is one of those maps that the map can disappear very quickly. The amount of space that is available to each player can disappear quite quickly. Infantry do dominate the first part of this game. Are we going super greed or are we going aggressive? It feels like a little bit greedy on the Soviet side. Did he go? Yeah, he went crane. He's got a super reactor already, delaying the war factory by a lot. But double oil derrick for our Soviet player. GOproHero is going to have a decent amount of income with 3, maybe 4 refineries and 2 oil derricks under his control. Tengus are going to be looking to clear out the bear, maybe so that Red can take that oil derrick with his own engineer. He wants to be the man with 2 oil derricks under his control. And StarSentinel, he might be getting dumpstered here by Takitak. First Defender VX is a little bit too late to the party. Tengu and an Imperial Warrior doggy guarding this barracks and going to be denying any additional units. And that Defender VX just barely didn't have any real time to get anything done. falls, and the aggression will keep up. StarSentinel has gone for a third refinery back way out on the land in the corner, but the rest of his base has been broken open. He's getting shot in the face, and there is nothing he can do about it. Takitak, very fortunate that no one attacked him. In the meantime, GOproHero going for a Tesla coil push against his opponent. He has an additional refinery to support this as well. Is he going MCV cell? It would actually be kind of sick. But no, he's got a barracks. He's got an engineer. He gets a Mecha Bay, a tier 2 Mecha Bay away from his opponent. That is an Empire Mecha Bay, which can now be converted into an entire Empire tech tree. The MCV is on the move. The MCV is going to have to run for the hills, and this engineer is just hoping that MCV will unpack and let him go for the capture. That engineer almost shot the MCV as well. The MCV will be down a little bit below half health as this Tesla coil gets the last parting shots on that MCV, and it heads for the hills. Imperial Warriors will get the kill on this engineer. Second engineer will be forcing the sell of these buildings. No, he gets a refinery as well. Good cash in the bank for this Soviet player. Takitak keeping up the aggression, but Red, who is the purple allied player, Red is going to push back Takitak, and Takitak now has taken a third refinery back in the corner. Feels like Takitak may actually need to double expand or potentially just move into his opponent's main base, because he is going to need extra income if he wants to go toe-to-toe with GOproHero, who can soon have an Empire MCV under his control. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 refineries currently operating, and 2 oil derricks under the control of GOproHero. This guy has massive income, and just the way he is playing this game out makes me think he may actually be a Smurf. He may be a name that we would recognize, but in this case, we will not know who he is. And unfortunately for World, he is a little bit in a sad spot. He's out on the water. He's still getting chased down by this Conyard. This 5-player FFA on Murder Mesa, it may be a very sad game for StarSentinel and World, and we may be left with once again 3 strong players, GOproHero, Red, and Takitak. But maybe I've spoken too soon. Maybe it'll just be Red and Takitak, as Red is bringing the fight to this Soviet player, but at the same time, GOproHero with his Tengus. These are Soviet Tengus, by the way. I know you can't tell, but these are Soviet Tengus, the way that they are jumping into the base of Red, causing some confusion, and going to be not doing very much, actually, because 2 Guardian tanks are going to scare them away. They almost got a power plant. They got nowhere near a war factory. Honestly, I don't know why that attack petered out. I think he probably could have pivoted to the north. Like, you don't want to necessarily fight the Tesla coil, but you could go up here and start taking down all of these buildings from the north. I don't know. That actually could have worked out a little bit differently. World is going for the engineer out to the water, because that engineer would not be safe on land against this harvester. And the engineer is going to get stuck because he's going to run out of juice, and the harvester is going to close in. Takitak will get the kill. And that will be the end of that. Takitak shows up with a couple of Tengus, a couple of Imperial Warriors, and a couple of tank busters, but they are going to get absolutely obliterated. Toxins deny the retreat. Sentry gun and Tesla coils will take down everything else, and Takitak gets a insight into the base of GOproHero. Welcome, Galvanize, to the stream. We have a ton of replays still to check out, so you are catching the first stream live, but this is also the first half of this stream, so there's still a good number of games to go. And if you stick around, you can help to vote on whether or not the games are good enough to get uploaded to YouTube, or if they should die here on Twitch and just stay here and never get uploaded. Takitak out to the water. Going to be targeting down nothing, because the Sea Wings will scare away his Chopper VX's. World has an opportunity to make a 1 refinery, very slow, very long-term comeback. if he can just stay out of the crosshairs of any other player in this game. MCV getting trapped. Too many Guardian tanks, too many IFVs. Maybe if this MCV had packed up and been able to luckily crush absolutely everything, he could have stopped that kill. But this is too much purple firepower from the allied player named Red that he can't quite stop it. Yari mini subs are going to get themselves a consolation prize as they take down an oil derrick, and that is a true consolation prize indeed. An allied player who doesn't build airfields, who doesn't build naval yards, and who is existing for some reason off of 2 ore refineries. What actually happened here? No, 3 ore refineries. Okay, up onto the high ground. Why do you only have 3 ore refineries? I feel like this would be a super easy expansion to take backwards out onto the ground. That allied MCV build radius is so big that I feel like you could get over there really quickly. You don't even have to be very close to that refinery. You would probably need different units to defend it. You need some stuff that can actually swim or fly. Takitak has built a fresh base. He says, reinforcements will be here. Proxy's a war factory. Proxy's a barracks as well. This is some nonsense, I tell you. Proxying a war factory in an FFA? Come on, man. This is not an early game proxy, but this is in close proximity to his opponent, which will deny some of the defender's advantage. Big crush comes in. Tank busters all get eliminated, and that was the meat of the army here. The tank busters were supposed to clear the way so that the chopper VXs could do the rest of the damage, and that attack from Takitak just fell apart horrifically for him there, and he is now going to be getting chased away. This purple allied player seemingly has angered just about everyone on the map. He's pushed back Takitak. He has been attacking GoPro, and now he is potentially going to be getting double teamed, but maybe Takitak will back off. GoPro and Red, they have the most sections of the map under their control, but GoPro is undeniably the economic powerhouse of this game. 2 refineries in the middle, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 refineries under his control. No oil derricks. The oil derricks have all gone down, but he does have that cool observation post, giving him a big chunk of vision. And yeah, he can re-expand out to this water expansion. Hey, where are you? Watch where you're setting up, MCV. There's a refinery that's supposed to go there. MCV sets up, should be able to start up that refinery, gets himself to 9 refineries, which is a lot of money. And I mean, this is a 3 refinery allied player and a 4-5 refinery empire player, soon to be 6 refinery empire player. I mean, in theory, no one can contend with GOproHero, but we shall see if he actually is uncontendable or if he will just be getting jumped on. MCV is going to go for the crush, and these Tangus do not have honorable discharge. At least I don't think they do. Maybe they do. Does that transfer? I don't think they do. So I think they just do a very minor amount of splash damage when they die. They don't do the extra damage because it's a Soviet player who does not get that upgrade. And I don't think it's like they get the upgrade if they already had it. I think it's the new ones don't have it. So that Mecha Bay, which has just been pumping out a ton of Tangus, which I don't know that he actually ever got an Imperial MCV to build out the rest of his tech tree. It feels like with 9 refineries, you could afford 2 tech trees so that you have all of those options. And also, why are the Tangus not teaming up with this army? It feels like the Tangus and this army could actually blast down this force really easily. Maybe not really easily. They would still take some damage, take some losses. But, oh no, that was the wrong button. Presses F when there's no units around him. Are you going to drive into the no-go zone? He's driving into the no-go zone. That Tesla trooper is just getting free damage as these units donate themselves into his no-go zone. And I mean, hey, I get it. Unit control is clunky in Red Alert 3, but he did definitely just drive into that. And now the Tesla trooper can get the complete lockdown. Yeah, what are you going to do with an MCV? Sell it off? That's a fair move. That's probably the best thing you could have done. Tries to get the engineer into that building, And that is, yeah, that was a good split-second decision-making combo, but obviously it was 1 second too slow, maybe 2 seconds too slow. And as a result, you know, he loses the engineer. Not that getting the engineer into the building would have done much, but he was trapped in that case. He had no functional escape. And now suddenly, back down to 2 refineries goes Red. He does not have much. And by Red, actually both Reds, the Red Empire player and the Purple Allied player named Red, both are down to 2 refineries. IFE is going to be able to take down a couple of those. Wow, this is just... oh, no, that bark actually did massive damage. I thought the Tesla Troopers were going to get the dog before it barked. But those Tesla Troopers actually all get locked down. Wow, I thought the Tesla Troopers were just going to obliterate that IFV army, but they all get paralyzed. They all get deleted, and that is the end of that. A couple of Sea-Wings are here for the player world, and it's going to be mass Tengus swinging their way to the north to knock down these Sea-Wings. How many will go down before they can transform? 2. The answer is 2 Sea-Wings do get eliminated. Takitak has spent his time trying to build the ultimate Empire Navy. Imperial Docks is coming online, 2nd of them. And Tengus should not try to engage these IFVs, but a combination Tengu Hammer Tank Force could. Or, oh my gosh, that's so many. It's just a bunch of conscripts running around with this army for whatever reason. Shogun battleships now showing up to the fight. World, who has been doing what he can to rebuild and get himself back in this game, is now about to go up against so many Shoguns. Actually, it's just 2. So many Shoguns. It's 2 Shoguns, and the rest are just random other Empire units. I mean, this is 7 Yari mini-subs, which is a lot of firepower. Tengus in the sky and Sea-Wings on the ground. Cryo Shot fires off, locks down 3 hammer tanks. Takes the observation post as well. 3 observation posts now under his control. If this was the Red Alert 3 beta, he would only have to capture 2 more observation posts to be able to see the entire map. For those of you who don't know, in the Red Alert 3 beta, if you captured all of the observation posts that were on the map, then you would get the entire map revealed for as long as you had the observation posts. If there was anything else here alongside these IFVs, these Twin Blades might actually die. But when it's just a couple of IFVs, even if it's like 5 or 6 IFVs, they just don't have enough damage output to quickly kill off all of these Twin Blades. Although if the Twin Blades are killing off everything else, you at least get, you know, a couple of free kills here. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, someone brought up Red Rhino in the chat, just says, pretty good alternative to the Red Alert 2 spy satellite. Yeah, the spy satellite revealing the entire map and then gap generators being like your only way to guard against that, which only allied players have, is pretty bad competitively for the late game. One faction just gets to see the entire minimap, which obviously Fog of War was a different concept. The earlier games used Shroud, which was like a perma reveal anyways, but for all games which used Fog of War, having that permanent reveal of the map seems very, very bad competitively. It gives you a huge advantage, and especially if you're the allied player, but at least if it's observation posts, it's something that you have to spend engineers capturing, and then they can be taken away from you. They can be, you know, blown up, or they can be recaptured by your opponents. It creates potential points of interest rather than just a like one-button solution. And somehow this hydrofoil and these Sea-Wings from 2 different players are... Where's the hydrofoil? That hydrofoil was glitching out. The attack animation was going the wrong way. But eventually, those Twin Blades do go down. Well, that's not something you see very often. 1 Yari mini-sub trades out for 3 Tengus there. Twin Blades winging their way across the map. Red has like 5 buildings left, 2 refineries, 3 power plants, and as soon as those are gone, then red is out of this game. Red and the Red Empire player, both basically out of this game. Takitak is on the other side of the map. He's got lots of Yari mini-subs, but not much more than that. And hey, Twin Blades can kill an MCV pretty easily, so goodbye MCV. There's going to be virtually no escape for you. And there's the mass fire sale in the corner of Takitak, and Takitak might actually... Oh, no, that is a fire sale all the way. Goodbye, Takitak. So that will be the end of this wonderful Yari mini-sub army. 1 building left. That refinery. Twin Blades are heading for it. Goodbye. There we go. Takitak has been defeated. Sea Wings go down, and now suddenly this is very much feeling like a one-horse race. Red, the purple allied player, never really got to a good place economically. There was never really a big 4-5 refinery economy. And as a result, he would always have these somewhat powerful, relatively small armies that can do some damage, but you can't take down GOproHero with such a small economy. IFVs are here. Last building? Question mark? Last building. cOcred has been defeated, and now there is just the Red Empire player who is still in this game. Never mind. World has been defeated, and there we go. Murder Mesa FFA clocking in around 20 minutes. Welcome to Magmageddon. It is 3v3 time in the top left-hand corner. Or should we do the... we'll do the introductions normal. Maybe we'll do the introductions crazy a different time. In the top left-hand corner, as the red... Blue... purple! I said red and then blue, which I guess if you add those together, you do get purple. As the purple allies, this is YourMistress, which is not a name that I've seen before. I've seen lots of names with various levels of seriousness, but YourMistress is not one of them. As the Orange Empire, this is Ranger. And making a return from a previous game, although I don't know if it'll actually get uploaded to YouTube. As the Green Soviets, this is BabyfaceBoretti. Always a funny name to see in the replay. And in the South, as the Yellow Soviets, this is Enander. As the Cyan Soviets in the middle, this is Demented. And rounding out this 6-player game, this 3v3, as the Blue Empire in the north, this is Zebra, or Zebra, if you like. 6 players, 4 Soviets, 1 Allies, 1 Empire. The Soviets are in the middle and in the south. The Allies and the Empire are in the very northern position. It is a Stingray rush, it seems, in the south. 2 Soviet players opening up for a naval yard, opening up into Stingrays. Not something you see super often. Oh, these conscripts are going to get massacred. One roar, one roar, one roar. No, what are you doing? No, the roar right at the end there. Get the 1 active fighter. Yeah, good control there. After BabyfaceBoretti totally botched the beginning of that engagement, he cleaned it up in a really nice fashion. That bear earns his dinner tonight. Or perhaps he already got it. As suddenly... what is happening up here? Because YourMistress is getting absolutely slapped down and destroyed, and suddenly there is just not much hope for YourMistress to come back into this game and live to see another day. This Tengu is going to transform. Ranger, not quite ready to transform just yet. You always got to hate when you fly over somewhere and then you're like, I need to transform to help out my ally, but the timer hasn't reset, the cooldown hasn't happened yet. So you have to wait that extra couple of moments. This is pure Imperial Warriors, and I think he's about to run out of steam now. A little bit of harassment perhaps coming in as well. Demented drops something. Is this that's a sudden transport? I was like, what is going on here? But it is a sudden transport, possibly with an engineer. I'm trying to figure out why he sold off those power plants. No, it's actually tank busters. So I guess that is tank busters in 1 Imperial Warrior. That is why he is hoping to get the kill on all of these units. Imperial Warriors will be cleaned up. Bears now on the line, now online, but also this Tesla coil coming up. Big roar happens. Tesla Trooper or Terror Drone will not be able to keep this sudden transport locked down anymore, and that attack falls apart as Enander in the south and BabyfaceBoretti keep up the Stingray wars, keeping up the pressure against each other. YourMistress finally has a bit of room to breathe and get out onto the map to actually take some positions and do something in this game. YourMistress has been on the defensive back foot for the entire start of this game. Zebra has taken a lot of damage early on, and by a lot, I do mean a little bit of damage. Having to sell off a couple of power plants, losing a harvester, it's not the end of the world, but it's certainly not how you want to open up the game when you've spent a huge amount of your starting cash on that opening where you go aggressive against your opponent. Zebra coming in there with that sudden transport, or wait, who was the other Empire player? Oh, Ranger. Oh, I said there was four Soviet players, but I totally misspoke. There's 2 Empire players, 1 Allied player, and 3 Soviet players. So eventually I'll figure out who's in this game. But Ranger coming in here totally saved, not Demented, saved the purple player, saved YourMistress, as that forced the attack to slow down and kept any more pressure from the blue player off of the purple player. Where is this? This refinery needs to go somewhere, but now that refinery just goes down. That was a huge waste of a refinery. 2,500 credits down the drain for Zebra. Could have taken this refinery there. Not a great spot. Could have tried to make the run for this refinery over there. Probably would have died the same way. But turning around and just wasting a bunch of time, not the correct way to go either. And now suddenly Demented comes through the middle of the map. Couple of hammer tanks, couple of conscripts, couple of bears, couple of bullfrogs in this mix. Going for YourMistress and hoping to knock one of these players out of the game. Bullfrogs get eliminated in concert. At the same time, those bullfrogs explode with a great sense of showmanship. They just get deleted, and these hammer tanks are lined up so incredibly nicely, but the MCV doesn't go for the crush. The conscripts trying to put out their little bits of DPS. That bear roar was completely useless, as there was nothing there. A bit of a misclick coming in there from that Soviet player, and the MCV will escape to the far side of the airfield. Maybe the leech beams could have gotten those last bits of health, but instead the guns will turn towards that airfield, and the death of that tsunami tank will signal the escape of the MCV, at least for now. YourMistress pulling out a move clutch at the last moment as that MCV runs for the hills. These tsunami tanks almost closing in, but no! The tsunami tanks give up the chase. They stop a little bit early, and now YourMistress's main base is blown wide open, is ready for the taking. But in the south, BabyfaceBoretti, he's punching hard. He is ready with these stingrays. One of them at least is fully heroic, and one stingray does stand in opposition, but that will not be enough firepower to stop the BabyfaceBoretti. He's got a Beretta in his hand, and he is ready to take it to the other side of the map. Meanwhile, Demented is smashing down the northern side of the map. So in the south, the team in the west may win, but in the north, the team in the east is beast. And sometimes that's how these 3v3s go. Supercharged Stingray, as this boy is heroic and ready to take down an infinite number of opponents. It seems the MCV survived, but there is no barracks nearby for the allied player. Ranger needs to produce an engineer. If you send an engineer into your allied building, it will heal your ally's building, and okay, that is exactly what they are doing. They know what they're doing. There you go. Nicely done. Very nice assist to his ally. And Prospector did escape, so he can take the water expansion relatively easily, or go for the build on the Prospector and then sell it off to get a little bit of cash back. But I feel like the second refinery out on the water would be the right way to go. MCV bought his ticket to the Destruction Derby as he goes for the crush on these units. Gonna not get that Harvester, but instead go for the kill on more Tengus. That Harvester is narrowly escaping. That Harvester respawned at just the right time. The MCV was already taking all of the heat of those Tengus, so then the MCV could kind of absorb the damage that should have been aimed at that Harvester. But a couple of strikers now here to try and finish off that MCV. It's going to be close. The engineer can pop out, potentially, but no, it's just not enough time. Bye-bye, MCV. Bye-bye. Cancel the engineer, if that's an engineer. Well, That's kind of a waste of money. Oh well. He healed up that reactor. He did indeed heal up that reactor. BabyfaceBoretti drops an ore refinery and keeps the pressure moving. Vindicator heading back to fuel up. Crusher Crane near that airfield means that those repairs will be active all the time. And a Tesla coil is here from BabyfaceBoretti to clear out Enander's section of the map. The Tesla wars have been won. Those little stingrays with their mini Tesla zappers have not enough strength to hold off twin blades in the sky. Ranger has macroed up a huge army. Where did this guy come from? Ranger with a giant Empire army, but getting matched by Zebra in the north, who's finally had enough space to get out 3 additional refineries, bringing his total up to 5 plus 2 oil derricks. A good income to make this attack happen. Meanwhile, Ranger has enough units to hold off this attack. It'll be how many kills can the Tsunami Tank get, and that is actually not as many kills as he would like. The Tsunami Tanks will fall, but the second wave of the attack has landed. The parade push keeps on coming. This Zebra has brought his herd. Even though I don't even know if zebras travel in herds. In this case, they do. This zebra has a herd, and they are heading across the map slowly, parade pushing their way down to the south. And that Vindicator is just constantly taking a little bit of damage, but also constantly getting healed up by that crane. Prospector getting healed up. Twin blades getting blasted to bits by those Tengus. Zebra finds the kill on the Tengus. And a beacon gets deployed by Demented as well. This Soviet player has been low on power for quite a while. BabyfaceBoretti needs to get himself another super reactor, and he puts it right next to his airfield, right next to his Crusher Crane as well. That may end up being something that causes him some real problems in the future. All right, Zebra has rebuilt his army. Good placement of those Tengus. Infantry will trade against them, holding them in place for the Tsunami Tanks. And big bull rush by the King Oni, but it misses. It misses absolutely everything. It lands on maybe a couple of these tank busters, but that won't be enough to stop the Tsunami Tank army, which has already brushed past Ranger's front line. They turn around and they bring down that King Oni. Second bull rush comes in. It expires before it connects with those Tsunami Tanks, and once again, the Tsunamis dodge back away from the front line. Zebra managing to hold the line against the attempted offense of Ranger. Ranger has been playing so much of this game on his back foot, trying to bail out YourMistress and keep YourMistress in the game. And as soon as Ranger steps out onto the map to actually do something himself, he gets slapped down, he gets defeated. And at the same time, BabyfaceBoretti, who nearly has knocked Enander out of this game, hasn't. He has missed that critical step to actually kill Enander, and Enander is keeping this from turning into a proper 2v2. YourMistress hasn't been doing much for the last couple of minutes in this game. It's been functionally a 3v2 because Enander has stayed just in the game enough to distract BabyfaceBoretti. Big cryo shot comes in, but it's going to be the tanks that finish up the job. Double Tesla coil is a powerful defense, and these Tengus on Overwatch keeping these strikers safe. The Bullfrogs don't have enough firepower to take down those strikers, so it will be the end of the assault. These hammer tanks and tsunamis will go down one by one. The power from the sky is just too much. The satellites rain down on those units, and this will be the end of the assault for the team in the east. They are not beast enough to keep up the attack. And finally, BabyfaceBoretti has almost knocked down Enander. He's almost taken over his whole base. He just needs to close the deal and kill Enander once and for all so that there will be no comeback. There will be no ability to bounce back, to rebuild, to macro up, and to come back into this game. BabyfaceBoretti If he can take over this base, he can secure himself a pretty solid position for his team. Strikers go for the kill. They get the Mecha Bay. The Tengus trade 1 for 1, but it's far superior numbers on the side of Ranger. And now they're going to make a swift exit as the Bullfrogs show up. The last Vindicators come through, and YourMistress has finally found a way to step out onto the other side of the map. It's only with a Vindicator, but it is as much as YourMistress can do in this moment. One Twin Blade in the corner. Not sure what that's about. BabyfaceBoretti's MCV is ready to expand into the base of Enander to go big on the eco, but I also missed that somehow a Sputnik snuck into his opponent's base. He has double barracks in here. He's not going to be able to do much with them. Cryoshot is going to be firing off. YourMistress still trying to earn his keep as he fires off that. Oh, he gets the low power mode as well. The reactor goes offline. An additional barracks comes online, and double Tesla coil finishes in the middle of Demented's base. And what a classic move here for a Soviet player. It's just not normally with a Sputnik that you go for the Tesla coil push, and the MCV goes down. The Stingrays just will never be stopped, it seems. That heroic Stingray doing so much for BabyfaceBoretti. Zebra has been defeated. Babyface, Ranger, and YourMistress pulling this one out. It seems YourMistress re-expanding to the north, retaking the ancestral home. And instead, it's going to be the team in the east which might be taking the L here. BabyfaceBoretti coming out as this game's MVP, following up that aggression with this Tesla coil push into the 5 barracks combo, the classic 5 barracks combo. What else would you do other than build 5 barracks? The engineer gets denied, but that will be the GG as everyone else taps out. Team West is best in this case. And in a swift 15 minutes, we get a 3v3 all wrapped up. Welcome to Infinity Isle for the next match, as we are here in a 1v1 for the first time in this stream. On the left side, as the orange allies, this is Gudao, or Gudao? I don't know. Oh, going airfield first. Okay. Let's see what the guy on the right side is doing, although that Bear Scout is identifying that airfield first very early on, so this is good. Goes for a flak cannon right away. War Factory after that. Okay, this is a 1 refinery War Factory by the purple Soviet on the right. Lian. Maybe lianxi or lianxia. It's like lianxi. And I don't know how you're supposed to pronounce that, so I'll say Lian, and then in the comments, someone can tell me maybe I'm wrong. All right, okay. We're starting to see some hallmarks of some players who maybe know what they're doing. Very good opening so far. Was that engineer supposed to get inside the bar? There we go. Get inside the bullfrog. There we go. Hops inside. All right, this is the appropriate Soviet response. It feels so weird since I've seen a 1v1. It's been so long. Been seeing so many team games. I don't know what a normal game looks like, where it isn't someone opening like Crane 3 refinery into a super reactor. But okay, this is a very normal game. All right, it's Infinity Isle. There is an engineer out here, so the Soviet player can get the cash back on the Allied oil derrick. It's going to be close. Oh, he gets it. Look at that steal right from under his nose. Right from under his nose. Sick play. This is a 4 Vindicator play as well. So this is not into a cryocopter. If you want the cryocopter, you go 1 or 2 Vindicators maybe. If you want the air dominance, you go 4 Vindicators. And this is also into a backdoor expansion. So it's the water expansion. It's not the high ground for the Allied player. Bullfrogs are here. Good number of Bullfrogs. 4 of them are here. 2 go down. That's expected. How many Vindicators? 2 get tagged. Almost gets the 3rd. That would have been sick. If he got the 3rd, that's like, okay, solid win for the Soviet player. But when it's a 2-for-2 trade for that, it's like, yes, the Vindicators are worth more than a Bullfrog. So in that sense, the Soviet player got the win. But if you are not on top of your bullfrog production, these Vindicators can very easily outlast the bullfrogs in a 1v1. Like here we've got 3 bullfrogs and 3 Vindicators. And I guess, all right, the positioning wasn't quite as good for the Soviet player, maybe, or not as good for the Allied player, but you can see we were on the road towards 0 Vindicator losses and 1 bullfrog loss. 4th bullfrog is coming in from behind. They might be able to pick up some of these Vindicators on the exit. Nope. So gets the sickle. This is turning around really well for the Soviet player now. Is he going to dumpster him? This might be a dumpster. 4 bullfrogs camping out on... move to the other side. Go to the other side. You can escape to the water. Oh, he doesn't. All right. Loses the bullfrog. That actually worked out well. Maybe a bit of a misplay there from the Soviet player. It's always hard to say, like, you know, he may not have been looking exactly right there when the multi-gunner turret deployed. You have to be really fast in your response times to those multi-gunner turrets. 2 bullfrogs go down, and here's where things can turn around for the Allied player. So no, the Soviet player is not going to totally dumpster the Allied player, but the Allied player might now dumpster the Soviet player. Everything just went down. That was a phenomenal turn around for this Allied player. Gudao has... I kind of sound like I'm talking about cheese. Gudao has turned this game around nicely. Maybe there were some misplays by the Soviet player. Maybe he could have played that one out slightly differently and come away with a bit of a win. There we go. All right, good control by both players. Like we know this engagement, using 1 Vindicator to soak up a bunch of damage so the second 2 Vindicators can make their approach, pulling the bullfrogs back so that they get maximum attack time and maximum distance away from the Vindicators. Like, everyone is making the right choices. Everyone here is making the right calls. Bullfrog production is dominating the Soviet build queue, which is not good for the Soviet player, but now that he's back up to 4 bullfrogs, we can see him start to diversify, and also the naval yard down on the low ground is another way that he can kind of break things up. It is a bit abusive with the terrain because the Soviet player can't defend it, but that's a choice that he's making. He could have placed it further back if he wanted to try and get a more defensible position for that naval yard. Walls coming up from the Allied player. This is going to be a 4 refinery Allied player very soon, which is honestly a pretty good setup. 4 refineries with an oil derrick. He didn't get the cash back on the oil derrick, of course, but 4 refineries for an Allied player is, if they have good unit control, which, you know, it's not been perfect unit control, but it's been pretty good unit control from our Allied player. He maybe could have grabbed that hammer tank, but that would have been a really close fight either way. Those bullfrogs, the range on the bullfrogs is so good. All right, you got your Vindicators into the back of your enemy's base. What is your plan with them? Could go for the reactor. Tries to go for the splash damage on the ore collector so that the Dolphin and the hydrofoil can deal with it. Safety hydrofoil in case they got a sentry gun or a Tesla coil. Always nice to see the safety hydrofoil. Dang, these are 2 players that, you know, I don't recognize their names. This could be a replay from the Chinese server, which would be why we don't recognize their names. But I feel like this opening is super solid. Like, they're both playing this one out really well. And maybe this is just a surprise because I've just been casting a bunch of, like, truly random games from all over the place where the skill level is really high and really low. And now I feel like I'm just seeing a very normal, straightforward, really solid mid-level game, maybe even high-level game. And it's just like, oh, yeah, I forgot that this is what a normal 1v1 looks like. 4 refineries, 5 refineries up for the Soviet player. 4 refineries, well, never mind. 4 refineries for both players. 5 refineries momentarily for the Soviet player. Twin Blade now going to go for the trade on the Dolphin. We'll be able to take that down eventually. It's going to take a little while to chew through the Dolphin's health bar. I thought the Dolphin was going to keep running, but not so. So never mind. Dolphin goes down nice and easy. Walls in the middle of the map. I feel like it's not a controversial choice, but it's one of those things that Sometimes it doesn't do much of anything. You spend all of the time, and it just doesn't do you much good at all. But in this case, it has bought a lot of time, and when you're an allied player who's playing pretty much entirely airfield naval yard for the first 5-8 minutes of the game, those walls can be really killer. Is he going double flak? Wow. Double flak on the low ground, so no interest in MiGs, it seems. He's got the airfield, but I feel like if he was going MiGs, he wouldn't have gone double flak on the low ground. Okay, gets the extra harvester from the water refinery and cancels it, crushes it, I should say. Akulasub gets the kill on the water expansion and then goes for the naval yard. Almost gets a kill. Twin Blades could maybe swing over there and go for the kill on that naval yard. Fresh reactor as well. A little bit spread too thin is Lian. He's kind of experiencing a little bit of the... He's going in every direction possible. And he's got 5 refineries, so he can kind of afford it. But it is coming at a cost. One of those costs is he has 2 hammer tanks. His ground army is extremely weak by comparison to what he could have if the setup was a little bit different. But that is because he has diversified in so many other directions. He's got 5 refineries. He's got a serious amount of infrastructure. Airfield comes in. Airfield needs 1 more volley, I think, to kill off that refinery. Good choice to lead with those Vindicators. Gudao goes for the kill on the refinery. And now the Bullfrogs are going to try and commit into the attack. The Terror Drone isn't able to get the lockdown. If the Terror Drone had been able to get the lockdown, he could have actually saved that refinery. But if the Terror Drone can get the lockdown with that stasis, then it can completely delete all of those air units. And now the Vindicator's going to come in. No cryocopters to go for the Shrink. Otherwise, that Dreadnought would have been dead. But instead, it is going to be 3 Vindicators and a trade, a 1-for-1 on refineries. The airfield, the aircraft carrier doesn't go down. The Akulasub almost gets the kill, but the aircraft carrier doesn't go down. Meanwhile, this Dreadnought will fall to the Vindicators. Oh, okay, he did go MiGs. He went MiGs just a little bit later. IFVs are going to scare away the MiGs, and that is 1 MiG down. Good by Dreadnought. He's going to pull it back to make this as costly as possible. And the airfield actually survived. Oh, last rocket? No, last rocket was at the IFVs. Akulasub trying everything to find the opening, find the 1 weak link to get the kill on this aircraft carrier, and now there is 2 Akulasub, so that is too much for the hydrofoil to manage, but as I say, that 1 Akulasub does go down, and, well, the other one is going to try and slowly go for the kill on the aircraft carrier, does eventually get the kill. Ultra Torpedoes clean up the hydrofoil, but Vindicators clean up that Akulasub. Athena Cannon will burn down this ore refinery, and the Dreadnought needs to get the kill on the Athena Cannon immediately. 1 rocket lands, 2nd rocket might miss, last rocket, no chance. Sometimes that happens. The split of the rockets isn't good enough, and you end up in that situation where you fire 1 rocket, which telegraphs to your opponent. Oh, he gets all of the Vindicators on the deck! Oh, that was sick. Vindicators on the deck going down. Nicely done. Observation post will be getting targeted down. It's always hilarious how much health the observation post has, how much health and armor. Like a battle lab would die faster than an observation post. Oh my gosh, look at that. Survives with just a bit of health. Bonk. Okay, bye-bye. Observation post goes down. Akulasub still trying to trade out against these Riptides. Might actually be able to get it. How much health does that Dolphin have? The Riptides are super low health, so they die almost instantly to that Akula. And yeah, the Soviet player playing this one out super slow, not at all ground army focused. So much we see the Soviets focusing on ground armies only, and as a result, the rest of the map can be falling to the control of the Allied player. But in here, it feels like perfect Soviet control. The Allied player is the one who dictated the air focus of the game, and the Soviet player played into that, but got control everywhere else on the map. Ooh, Cryoblast fires off. Riptide is going for the kill. It's going to be close as to whether or not this will land. Almost. No, it gets it. Denies the kill. Or gets the kill. I thought maybe that Dreadnought would step away, would unfreeze in time. But now the ground army, the one weakness of this Soviet player, is going to be tested. The Athena cannon is on the side of the Allies. MCV is trapped. This is 4 Mirage tanks putting a lot of damage. Toxins will get deployed. Hammer tanks not coming in for the hero rescue. So the Athena cannons are going to burn down the refinery on the water, and the Riptides are going to take down that naval yard. Stingray will get some good damage out. Double flak cannon needs to be sold off right now to try and salvage as much as you can. I don't... maybe this was the right call, sacrificing the entire high ground. But I don't know, you might have needed to fight for this high ground a little bit more. Dreadnoughts are going to be dumpstering the war factory, so the reinforcements will not be coming. The MCV has escaped down to the low ground. Is this going to turn into a bit of a base race? No Iron Curtain to allow these hammer tanks to really get up close and personal. It's going to be a tight fight. As soon as the Mirage tanks close the distance, they will obliterate those hammer tanks. V4s get a couple of shots. Here come the Twin Blades to try and lock down those Mirages. Stasis from that Terror Drone doesn't allow the IFVs to get the elimination that the Soviet player needs. He needs to clean up those IFVs so that the Twin Blades can help the hammer tanks out. Otherwise, this army just shreds the Soviet ground army. And indeed, the Soviet player has not been able to find that engagement angle that he needs. War Factory goes down. Crusher Crane is still here, so the MCV is not the end of the road. Barracks goes down. The Athena cannon is not being dealt with. I don't know. It's always a tough choice. Do you try and sacrifice the Twin Blades to get the kill on the Athena cannon? Like, after you know the Aegis Shield has expired, but at this point, the Aegis Shield is coming back online, and now the Twin Blades can't surprise the Athena cannons. Apollo goes down. Twin Blades are going to try and split out, and he's going to try and force the fight over the water, where the Dreadnoughts can beat back the Athena cannons. The Mirage tanks don't have as much power while the Twin Blades deal with everything else. IFVs are driving back, but here the terrain is working against the Allied player, where earlier the terrain was working to the Allied advantage. That Athena cannon almost drove into her doom. Dreadnought normally would have better range, but in this case, the heroic Athena cannons and the IFVs are now in the middle of the map. This is the perfect position that the Soviet player need, but he has so little left. Double naval yard out on the water, and the Mirage getting called in every moment that buys time until these IFVs get back, and both of the Athenas have gone down. He got the 2 kills that mattered. He got the 2 kills that he needed. Leon has found just a smidge of life right at the edge of death. Tier 3 Konyard, Tier 3 War Factory now, and this Soviet player on the edge of death. That Allied ground army was so powerful, and now with so little income to his name, this Allied player has been trying to get everything back online. The Tier 3 has not been denied. The oil derrick finally goes down, and now the Soviet player is pivoting to the north side of the map. Leon is looking for another angle. He might be able to dodge and weave, dart in here, take out a harvester, which has been bugged anyways, which has been taking a slightly inefficient path, and the IFVs are going to try and run down these Twin Blades low on health. No Crusher Crane to give them repairs. No hope of the bounce back. As soon as these Twin Blades go down, they are almost certainly never going to be replaced. Maybe sell off one of the naval yards so that you can get out an MCV, so that you can start that rebuild process. Twin Blades go down. 2 of them get eliminated. A third so low on health. The Dreadnought is not yet eliminated. Cryoblast fires off. Cryoblast almost catches the Dreadnought. The freeze is not enough, and the Riptide almost eliminates this entire Soviet Navy. But the Riptide goes down. The Dreadnought gets surrounded. 3 more Riptides close from the other side. And the Akula subs looking for the defense. Twin Riptide surrounding that Dreadnought as it goes heroic. And the Dreadnought moments away from death, but the Riptides find the kill. The Bullfrog's going in for the body block, but it's not enough. The Twin Blade gets a kill over there, and now suddenly both players have so little economy. There is one working harvester on the Allied side, and I think that's pretty much the same for the Soviet side as well. No oil derricks remain. I really feel like you need to sell off this flak cannon. Maybe it'll come back to be clutch in a couple of moments. Dreadnought is gone, but the tier 3 remains for the Allied player, not so for the Soviet player. The rebuild is going to have to be swift from our Soviet player. He's got his MCV back on the field. It feels like he needs to sell off that flak cannon, sell off this naval yard, and get something else under his belt. Oh, Twin Blade needs to come over here and try and kill off these Mirage tanks. One of them is double vet. It's going to be hard to kill off 3 Mirage tanks before the IFVs arrive. All right. By the way, Allard subscribed with Prime. Big thanks for the sub on the channel. And hopefully these, well, that Twin Blade got obliterated by those IFVs. There's an engineer inside of one of these IFVs, either for an engineer cap or for the heal up of these units. Trying to go for the stop, but no, it will not work. And Lian taps out. After the Dreadnought goes down, there really is not much hope for a tier 1 Soviet player against a tier, I guess he was tier 2, against a tier 3 Allied player who still had some Mirage tanks left. The Athena cannons would have been on the way, and that will do it for that game. And that'll do it for this video. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and this is Sybert signing out.